I'm not going to try and be competitive as much anymore. I'm just going to, play for a bit more fun, focus on other things, and then boom, their skill like absolutely increases. They do way better. It's it happens like way more often than you'd expect as we get through some intros. In the top left, it is the blue Protoss player ForJumy, our Protoss, who is looking to stay alive in the tournament with a win here today.
And in the bottom right-hand side, it is his opponent for Berserk Esports, Spatz.
Do you have any preference between these two? Like, if you had to make a prediction, or because to me this is like a PvP that's more of a coin flip than anything. I think when I think of these two, I put them in the same sort of range of skill, like the same sort of expectations from the both of them.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's even what I told ForJumy is, like, I think that in everyone's eyes, you guys are pretty evenly matched, so anything can happen. Don't worry about it and just do your thing. I do have a small bias towards ForJumy just because I know him a little bit better. Ever since I played that season of Rank Roulette and I went up against Solar and we were guessing, and ForJumy had submitted a replay, right? And we were guessing on ForJumy's replay and Solar guessed Plat 1. Just absolutely brutal. And I guessed Grandmaster. It was ForJumy. He was Grandmaster. And ever since, I've grown fonder and we've become closer friends because I just give him shit about Solar thinking that he was Plat 1 every time I see him. So
You always have the greatest stories, cats. Maybe giggle.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, that is...
And like, oddly enough, kind of like the same setup that we had in that game. It was like a proxy Stargate back then and Void Race and stuff like that. So ForJumy looking to get cheeky here to start.
Yeah, pylon right in the natural expansion too, so ForJumy is the player who I've seen be very aggressive a lot of the time, and this is to a whole new level. Is that probe meant to be stuck though, cats?
Yeah, no, not at all. Right, so that's a feels bad moment for ForJumy. Luckily for him, it's a robo. Probably wasn't planning on using that probe any further, but will lose some mining time as a result.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. We do see the robo facility coming up then. Yeah, okay, we'll see what happens. Obviously, this probe scan from Spatz is seeing probably a missing pylon, so a little bit of info you can maybe try and figure out there. This probe does end up moving off to the side. Sorry?
Yeah, he finds it right away. He finds the robo. Spatz does. He actually was ready to split up and look for some look for the proxy, but finds it right away. And ForJumy actually cancels the robo, knowing that the pylon won't survive. So a terrible start for him. Spatz with a little bit of a lead here now.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I mean, a proxy robo that was about to finish as well and just cancels. And now ForJumy puts the Nexus down while Spatz goes for his own robo and third gateway. I mean, obviously Spatz can get aggressive himself, especially because ForJumy's made such an investment early that then hasn't led on to anything else. So, yeah, this is a little bit wild.
A little bit wild indeed. I mean, I think it's on ForJumy to identify what's going on and try to look for a defense here, but it's not going to be easy. Having had to cancel his robo, now going into a very late Twilight Council, will poke and see 3-4 stalkers there. But I'm not sure if that's enough information. He doesn't know really if there is a Nexus or not, and the Adepts are doing a lot on the other side.
Yep, 3 probes going down, make it number 4 right there. Is this Adept not going to go down before 5th one drops as well, and a lot of lost mining time too, so this is looking really, really good for Spatz. I mean, he's got the Prism coming, he's going to have a few more units. The Twilight Council ain't doing anything for ForJumy yet. If ForJumy survives, then brilliant, but surviving seems like a long way off. This Nexus has absolutely no hopes of living. So then you at least down the base, and if nothing else, Spatz can continue a bit and just expand himself.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if stacking the probes there does anything for ForJumy, right? Because, I mean, the Adept is already clicked onto one of them, so and it's shooting at the same rate, and it's dying at the same rate, so it feels like you're just losing mining time for nothing there by stacking the probes. You would have still lost all 4 probes.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel like you just didn't really... You just hurt yourself more than necessary. That's a lot of stalkers, man. Coming forward, obviously the gateways at the front are very exposed as well. Spatz does need to decide what exactly he wants to do. We'll start with the pylon. ForJumy coming forward. He does have sentries, so he can maybe kind of position himself nicely for a fight and maybe catch a stalker or 2 of Spatz, but I mean, if he gets to Blink, then it's plausible for ForJumy to be in a good spot because Blink is just so powerful, but Meanwhile, Spatz is just going to say, cool, get a sentry, keep you in the base for as long as possible, perhaps, and then behind all of this, he's just taking his own Nexus. He will have the Robo to get a defensive Immortal up as well if needed against the counter-aggressive Blink players.
Oh.
Prism just outdoes them, though.
Yeah. So this gateway will also fall, putting ForJumy down to just the one gateway. So he will have Blink, but production-wise, he's just not set up to stop this. It's 3 gateways on the other side of things. Spatz is dropping the Nexus, might be a blessing in disguise for ForJumy, at least to maybe elongate this game, but yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty dire for him.
Yeah, it is not looking pretty and the slightest as that Blink about to finish up on that Twilight Council at least. So ForJumy, maybe, like I say, with Blink, maybe you can get a little bit of hope, maybe you have a little bit of belief your Stalkers can trade that much better, but he's got a lot of issues. I mean, he's going to have no gateways in a few moments' time, and this gateway is absolutely going to fall, and then you have no production, so then it really sucks. This is just absolutely brutal, and just getting your proxy robo in the natural scout is a big play. If it gets scouted, it's a big loss.
Yeah, very unfortunate here. So yeah, this game, I think it's pretty much irrecoverable. 2 more gateways going down, but that's an extra set of resources that he has to spend just to get the production online. And then he needs to afford the units against an opponent who has more probes, who has an expansion, who has more units out on the field, who is making immortals. This game is impossible for ForJumy.
Yeah, I mean, again, Blink is your advantage, but right now you just blink down and then the Stalkers kind of die for you anyway, so Spatz continues to do very well. Massive worker lead. Yeah, Immortal is obviously going to absolutely guarantee you don't die before your own blink is done, and apparently ForJumy is just going to build his Nexus over here to try and, I mean, I guess not get it cancelled by the massive army of Spatz. Spatz is just so far ahead, and these Stalkers about to get cut off. Well, found. I mean, they blink around. Sentry obviously saw them. And Spatz is going to go home, and I don't mind that. 3 Immortals is obviously huge, and yeah, he's just absolutely fine.
Yeah, Spatz doesn't need to go home, but it is the safe play. There is really nothing to say that ForJumy can make a comeback in this game. I mean, there is no Dark Shrine on the way. There is really just very little hope. A nice blink into the main will pick off a couple of probes, but that's all it will get. The Warp Prism a little bit exposed, but now actually getting surrounded is ForJumy with might have to force the recall. Does find the only opening that he had to actually blink away, and maybe he can find the corner here to blink again onto the low ground. So very nice moves for ForJumy.
Keeps them
displaying, you know.
Yeah, keeps him in the work account, and it was the only way out as well. Like, Spatz was like, I've got you cornered, and ForJumy is like, well, you know, what about this way? And also, on any other map, that might not have been a way out, but on Grezvan, it is simply for the fact you can jump out the natural as well. Loses a couple more Stalkers here, though, so for all the effort he went through getting these out, he ends up losing some anyways, and obviously Spatz is just on the offensive once again, coming straight across the map, full force, and looking as though he is not going to stop before ForJumy is dead.
Yeah, I mean, there's like these 2 Stalkers trying to do what they can to, you know, keep his opponent on the other side of the map, but that's just not gonna work. Spatz is probably gonna scout the natural, and I mean, here's the option to pull back, right? Like, you don't see a natural, you just feel super confident that nothing's gonna ever come to you. ForJumy does have that proxy Nexus, but not really anything mining it. Does have the Dark Shrine on the way now, but yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're Spatz, you should probably have more than an observer out. There's only one, you know, with the ability to make another one, and the leeway to lose half of your supply and still be in a good position, I feel like is just an insurmountable task for ForJumy.
Yup, as Stalker's going to get rid of a Stalker on that right-hand side. ForJumy gets pushed back, the little counterattack. I mean, the thing is, from Spatz, he sees one base, he's got to start checking for other bases, right? Because why would your opponent still be trying to make this happen on one base, and oh, the recall just happened, and now he's going to find the base? So that might just be the GG moment from ForJumy. That may be the moment he says, okay, cool, I am actually dead. He's going to try and attack him with the DTs, but there's an observer, so there's detection. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of it, right?
Has to be, yeah. We just wait it out at this point. Yeah, there's not any commentary left to be done here.
Yeah. All right. See you in the next game, cats.
Yeah, seriously, I like it. What do we say anymore?
Yeah.
Like, I cannot possibly imagine a scenario where ForJumy comes back. Yeah.
Game is absolutely over. Like, what's he about to do? Blink into the main. Hello, Stalker's here as well. Nice to meet you. Yeah. I mean, he's going to maybe blink to the upper right again, get out a second time. He's actually going to dive further in. gonna try everything he can, but obviously we can see and we know that this is very much so done. There is currently no detection for Spatz, so that's what ForJumy is relying on. But he has the prism.
There's no prism.
I mean, that's what he's playing for. That was the idea, right? So there was some hope, but it was extremely unlikely.
Yeah. I mean, there was some hope to, but I mean, in the position that Spatz was, he could build like 3 robos scattered across the map
of course,
and lose like all of his army and still win. Yeah,
that is definitely the real problem there, is that even if that part of the plan went off, there was still so much more to do. So, yeah, a rough one as we will head ourselves into. Babylon, apparently, for game number 2 of this, so we'll get that started up in a second. Spatz gets the chance to go into round 4 of Swiss, and ForJumy, again, must win. From here on out, needs to go 2-0 in this and get himself a win to stay alive, get into round 4, and let's go from there, take it match by match and see what we can do. We are heading into Babylon, though, and see if we will have some more PvP mayhem breaking out with that in the near future.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see about that. ForJumy, we were talking about the pressure and stuff like that. Like, some players definitely suffer from it a little bit more than others. And, you know, they usually give it away, right? Because they talk about it. Like, whenever you're talking about something, it's what's on your mind. It's what you're concerned about. And ForJumy brings it up. He talks about how, like, he'll play better without pressure now that he doesn't feel like... You know, he tweeted right away after, I think, his first or second game, like, oh, now it's impossible to have a good run. And you can almost tell that that's what he's doing, is trying to take pressure off his shoulders. And lower expectations for himself, because he probably feels like there is some expectations for him, especially being a streamer himself, right? Like, streaming as much as he does for the German community, being a rather animated character, etc. And the more emotional you are as a player as well, like the more that kind of stuff can affect you, right? Even though I would argue that the StarCraft 2 community, as compared to just about every other esport, is rather lenient and kind of easygoing on players. Players can be very hard on themselves because they, you know, you can't turn around and blame anything else. It's just on you.
Yep. No, it's very true. It's StarCraft's a brutal game. Like that 1v1 feeling, that 1v1 factor is definitely a part of it. As we have top left, Red Protoss up by 1. Cats. It is Spatz.
And in the bottom right hand side, it is your boy, the blue Protoss player, ForJumy.
I don't think we'll see a proxy robo in the natural, as this time the 2 probes kiss in the middle of the map and continue on by. So just a scout from both, and there is a difference already, though, with ForJumy having a high ground gateway, while the low ground gateway comes up on the side of Spatz. So, you know, Spatz more likely to set up for the expansion here, while ForJumy is setting up for at least a little bit of pressure. You can obviously still expand off of 2 gateways, but you're definitely going to be that little bit more pressure focused to begin with.
Yeah, the classic approach here on the side of ForJumy. We'll see if it yields results. There are a few players that have always favored this. Geralt comes to mind. We'll see him later as well. He's the type of player that just lives and dies with this opener and never really went to the other one, right? That which seems to be the greedier one, the one that I personally prefer watching against this opener. It feels like the gateway on the low ground usually yields you more advantages economically, unless you can find some damage with this, which seems rare to me. Whenever I watch these games, it feels like a mistake needs to be made on the other end to let something happen with the 2 gates.
Yeah, no, it's definitely always... It almost feels like you're just afraid of kind of being a bit more adventurous yourself, and then it's like, oh, well, now I just play from here, and there's a Stargate down from Spatz, right? So it just doubles down on how safe you should be for the most part. And ForJumy, Stalker and Adept are going for this kind of combo open, and he does put the pylon in the main. I've seen so many players trying to sneak the pylon in the main base lately. It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll see if it works out, right? It's I don't think it's been spotted yet. So there is an opportunity. If you are ForJumy with this probe, you want to keep it now in range of vision of Spatz, so that there are no suspicions raised as off to that probe going off to the side and dropping a pylon from this point on. So ForJumy does the proper thing here, but the Zealot is still going to scout for it.
Yeah, Zealot finds the pylon. That is obviously big, so there goes that idea from ForJumy at least. And you just see ForJumy walling off the high ground, prepping against a potential approach from Spatz, but the Adepts push back a little bit already, and we actually are just on our way to an Oracle. So ForJumy is the player who is just on, I mean, so much less, right? 2 gates, not really much use of them. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I look at this, I'm like, well, what was ForJumy got? Now he gets a Twilight Council started, but man, the first Oracle is already popping, and they're going to be heading across the map. Obviously, I feel like at this point, Spatz could start his own Twilight and not be that far behind in Blink, while also having Oracle pressure to utilize.
It's rough. It's rough. I mean, it is just the nature of this type of opening, I think. And like you said, I mean, Spatz taking all the precautions and necessary measures, delaying his own Nexus in favor of getting the tech faster, and will pull ahead as a result because he didn't have that second gateway investment and he didn't invest further into units from that production facility. So his tech is more advanced. Second Oracle now on the way. So even if there are shield batteries, there will be an opening here for Spatz to do economic damage.
Yep, we'll see what he can do. The first Oracle flies over the natural. Toward the main base, there's not much to be done there, but obviously Oracle 2 is out and starting to get across the map as well, so we'll be keeping our eyes on it. Both players expand at a similar time, and the Twilight of Spatz is obviously a bit behind. Is going to be a later blink, but it is the power of these 2 Oracles that can make up for that blink being so much later, so continue to watch that out as our Oracles come down the right.
Yes, indeed, and they will find their first probe now going into the main, where there's a few Stalkers and Sentries waiting for them, so not gonna find much more there, but another probe exposes itself, trying to cross the bridge to the natural, as we see the Oracles fly over the Urubu, which apparently means vulture in Portuguese, by the way. Someone in chat pointed out.
So it's a vulture.
It's a vulture, not a raven, yeah.
Definitely not a raven, no.
Definitely not a raven.
We were really zoomed out.
Close enough.
We were really zoomed out. So
really zoomed out, yeah.
Yeah. Zoomed out.
It doesn't look like a vulture either.
No, not really.
Does it look like a vulture? Not really, right?
I don't really know what a vulture looks like now I think of it.
Oh, really?
Well, like, I guess I kind of do, but like not confidently enough to talk about the Urubu resembling one.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, when I picture the vulture, the first thing that comes to mind is the In Control monologue on Who is Artosis, and vulture picture in that video. It's a really good one if you haven't watched it. Or if you haven't watched it in a while even, it's always worth a watch.
Yeah. No, it was good fun. The Nexus, by the way, from Spatz is super ahead of ForJumy, so ForJumy might have that +1 upgrade, he might have the unit set up, but he is going to have to do something with it. Otherwise, Spatz, his own blink finishing, his Nexus so far ahead. And if you don't do anything at all here as ForJumy, I mean, it looks like he wants to try and expand, but a probe goes down, so he gets delayed even further. And this is absolutely going to start adding up over time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see what ForJumy can do here to try to stabilize us. The third is already underway for Spatz. Now a Dark Shrine as well, a nice addition, right? Like they say when behind Dark Shrine, but when ahead Dark Shrine is also pretty nice.
Yeah. When ahead Dark Shrine, and it definitely adds up as our Oracle up the upper right side, just escaping away from those few Stalkers again. I'm just going to see all of these continue back across the map once more, just away they go, up to the north.
Up to the north they go. Let's see if they can find anything. I mean, the numbers are not there, but neither is the shield battery. So maybe an opportunity here with a better concave as 2 more Stalkers get warped in on the side of Spatz. And 3 more on the side of ForJumy. These sentries could have a say as well. They will force the blinks, and that will offer ForJumy a better position, but now the shield battery is done. At least a few probes are going to fall, and the shield battery overcharge is kind of forced early. So ForJumy perhaps with the possibility of re-engaging here.
Yeah, no, it's a good start. I mean, you definitely want to be the aggressor. He's going to blink in now. He has enough Stalkers to one-shot through, and he's killed a bunch of probes as well. So, as we continue to fight here, does he just have the numbers? The +1 helping. We're going to pull probes to survive here. As Spatz, he does have probes to lose to still be okay, right? So, the probe pull is absolutely the correct call. And unfortunately for Spatz, he just doesn't have as many gates. So, ForJumy, if he can keep up the warp-ins, he should be able to break through in the end, especially with the +1 lead. The Oracles put a little bit more pressure on during this, but not really enough to really take ForJumy away from this too heavily, and Spatz is still just trailing about that 10 army supply. He is warping in a DT, though, and that could be a game changer, because there is not a robo facility on the map for ForJumy. There's a Forge. There's not currently cannons. He's going to start his robo now. The DT, I believe, is warped in aggressively, so it's going to arrive quickly and start getting some kills. And then you can also warp in a DT on this side of the map to push the Stalkers back for now, so you are going to be safe while dealing damage. I love this for Spatz.
Yeah, he hasn't worked in the DT just yet defensively, though, so I feel like ForJumy, he just has to say, okay, I'm going to take whatever losses I have to take until my robo is done and just inside and or at least gain a sizable advantage here. I mean, there's so many batteries now on the side of Spatz that I feel like ForJumy needs to continue to go for that micro where he's just going to be one-shotting Stalkers. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to sustain against those shield batteries.
And I feel like Spatz is not realizing that there's no observer here, right? I mean, ForJumy would not be able to deal with the fact that, like, you know, there's DTs on top of his Stalkers. It would just take a very long time, but he just doesn't know. He has got all the probes running around on the other side. But yeah, it would just be great if he didn't have to have these continued fights, because then he could have really taken an advantage from this, kept his Stalkers alive a while, pushing the probes away from any kind of batteries Q2. The Oracle comes to help get a couple kills, so that's nice as well. And that's definitely going to, in the end, cause ForJumy to back away. And now Spatz does have more workers. Now he does have more army supply. He just needed to wait for everything to come online, and the DTs bought him the time to do that.
Yeah, ForJumy has an extra upgrade, an extra 2 upgrades on Spatz. That was his one advantage, but they're not going to materialize into anything, unfortunately. By the time +2 hits, he's already too far behind. Now trailing over or about 30 supply. Trailing in the worker count as well. So difficult to imagine a comeback here, but not nearly as impossible as the first game, I guess. It's a silver lining.
Yeah,
Less
no.
impossible.
I'm with you, man. Like, it's not impossible, but it's definitely a little bit rough, especially a fight like this right now where you just have so much of Spatz and he can just take that trade. He does not have high ground to blink after those Stalkers for a little bit, so he will be delayed in the chase. There's the Dark Shrine of ForJumy about to finish, but Spatz has an Oracle at home, and he will, sorry, not an Oracle, an Observer at home. He also has the Oracle as well, so if he did need a Revelation, he could add that in too, as he gets even more pros with this Oracle actually talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely nasty. That's more mining time lost as well. I mean, I wonder what the income graph even looks like right now. Can't be pretty, right?
Yeah, just moments where Spatz has taken more and more of a lead. It's been adding up, man. It's been adding up.
Oh, it's tough. ForJumy will find an opening here to pick off some probes, but on the other side, it is just so many Stalkers for Spatz, who blinks on confidently onto the natural base. The shield battery is unpowered, but even if it was powered, there would only be 2 Stalkers to shield. And ForJumy tries to go for a pseudo base trade, but he's never going to win those against these numbers of Spatz. So things looking as good as over here yet again. And the German youngster will defeat the other German youngster.
Yeah, the German youngsters take each other out as, well, Robo Facility will be dropping. I mean, like, you know, I guess the play is right. If you can nuke down the other Observer, DTs could still be a game ender, right? So maybe we'll rely on the DTs here as ForJumy. So it's just super important for Spatz to keep A, his Observer alive, and B, the Oracle, his detection he can always use to pretty much guarantee this game. It's only if those 2 units go down that I would say ForJumy has a chance in this, so it's basically a question of that, and yeah. Spatz even building a cannon as well to help against potential DTs.
Yeah, that's very clever. ForJumy trying to proxy a Nexus in the corner, in the left-hand corner, but he is down to 6 probes to 24 of Spatz. Yeah, his win condition is the DTs, but he's gonna have to do a lot of work to make those work at all, so I mean, it's a base trade. You know, those look chaotic enough that maybe you would think there's some sort of a chance, but it's on ForJumy to also breach the new base of Spatz, and Spatz does have the economy to drop that, and subsequently to mine it with many more probes. Much better economy than ForJumy, so the clock continues to tick.
I'm going to recall over here with these Stalkers, and because Spatz has right-clicked on the Nexus, he takes some shots for a while. We lose the Oracle. Observer. Okay, the Observer's on the left-hand side. It's just got to stay clear of the Observer of his opponent. And like I say, the DTs can win this game. The Stalkers are in a much better spot, I would say, for Spatz. He's going to leave the DT. Stalkers into DTs, or the DTs into the Observer. The Observer's stuck. Oh, the DT was stuck, sorry, and the Observer was not there. The Observer's just far enough back from Spatz. Now only 1 DT. There are cannons too, right? So it's not just about that. And he is now manning off this base in the bottom, so I think we're going to be good no matter what. Yeah, in the end, right, if Spatz needed to, you could just go camp out on that base. And that's why the cannon was so smart, because it gives you the backup plan just in case the detection gets sniped otherwise.
Yeah, Spatz is very well aware of his lose condition, I suppose, as even during that fight, always kept the Observer way in the back, sieges it for the extra vision, but still way in the back, completely unreachable. So You know, there's no nothing to suggest that ForJumy is gonna surprise his opponent with the gacha pickoff of the observer. There's also the cannons, like you said. So Spatz knows how the only way that he loses this game is. 5 probes now remaining for ForJumy, but not even mining. And here comes the last attack.
Yeah, the observer took a shot, but this is where the cannons are very important too. The observer sits very far back. Stays what? Kill the observer! Kill the observer!
Okay, go for it, Blink! Oh, does he get it? No!
Spatz got it.
The observer for ForJumy goes first.
Yeah.